My world didn't break with a shouting match or a tear-soaked confession. It cracked quietly, one rep at a time, in the fluorescent hum of a 24-hour fitness gym in Austin. I'm 38, a product manager with a decent South Austin apartment. Weekend hikes at Zilker Park with my wife, Claire, and our rescue mutt, Gus. Claire's got this quirky habit of sketching food truck menus while we wait in line. Little ink doodles that capture Austin's chaotic charm. 10 years married. Life felt solid. Good, even. Lately, though, Claire's been distant. Her phone's glued to her hand, scrolling through dinner, her usual chatter replaced by one-word answers. Work events and book club nights pile up, stretching later each time. She landed a big role at a branding firm downtown. Demanding, sure. I told myself it was just stress, but the itch of doubt grew. Especially after last week, when Sarah, her best friend, dodged me at a food truck park, muttering about Claire being swamped before hurrying off. Odd, but I brushed it aside. I met Evan a month ago by the free weights. Sound engineer, late hours, loves Austin's live music scene. We bonded over sweaty circuits and kombucha, griping about I-35 traffic. That night, he was buzzing about his new girlfriend. "She's incredible, man," he said, wiping down a bench. Last Saturday, we drove around, hit weird food spots, caught a killer set downtown. He grinned, pulling up his phone. "Check this out." I expected some stranger, anyone but her. But there was Claire, my Claire, beaming in Evan's arms, her hair wild, eyes glowing under the Austin skyline from a rainy street rooftop bar. The gym's hip-hop playlist and kettlebell clatter vanished. My chest tightened, a cold panic clawing up my spine. I forced a smile that felt like splitting skin. "Wow," I said, voice steady despite the chaos inside. "She looks great." I leaned in, feigning interest, my mind racing. Last Saturday, Claire said she was at a team-building retreat in San Antonio. Overnight. The lie hit like a punch. "Yeah, she's something else," Evan said, oblivious, swiping through more photos. Dinners, a backstage venue shot, them laughing by a food truck I knew too well. My hands shook, but I kept them clasped. "You guys look happy," I said, throat tight. "We should hang out, grab a drink Friday?" The idea locked in. I needed to see them together, to watch this lie unravel. Evan lit up. "South Congress spot, perfect." We swapped numbers, the act surreal, like scheduling my own unraveling. I drove home in a daze, Austin streets alien. Claire was in the kitchen, watering her succulents, humming softly. The air smelled of damp soil and rosemary. I wrapped my arms around her, burying my face in her hair, searching for something familiar. Her warmth felt distant, like hugging a ghost. As she turned, giving a quick kiss, I spotted her canvas tote on a chair, the one from her retreat. Inside, a faded concert wristband peeked out, the kind from multi-day festivals like ACL. Evan had mentioned ACL last weekend. The timestamp on his photo matched. The wristband's faded ink screamed a truth she hadn't shared, a life I wasn't part of. My heart pounded, fear and certainty colliding. I said nothing, but the itch was gone. This was real. What stings more than a truth you never saw coming? Evan's photo of Claire, her smile lit by the Austin skyline, was seared into my brain. The concert wristband in her tote bag sat like a stone in my gut, proof of a life she was hiding. Friday's meetup at the South Congress bar loomed, a reckoning I both craved and dreaded. Our apartment, once a haven, now buzzed with a tension only I felt. The rosemary scent from Claire's succulents turned sour, a reminder of that wristband. Claire's secrecy was no longer subtle. Her phone, always face down, buzzed with muted notifications she'd swipe away if I was near. Our location-sharing app, set up years ago for peace of mind, was off on her end. "Battery drain," she muttered when I asked, eyes on her coffee mug. At a taco trailer meetup, I caught Sarah watching me, her usual warmth replaced by a tight smile, before she excused herself to take a call. It nagged at me. Sarah, who'd always been family, acting like a stranger. I was trapped in a loop of rage and desperate hope. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, a surprise, a mix-up. But the wristband mocked that hope. I started logging details in a private phone note. Dates, excuses, the wristband. It felt like work, analyzing data to keep the chaos at bay. I confided in Jess, a colleague who'd survived a brutal divorce. Over cold brew and breakfast tacos, the smell of grilled carne asada sharp in the air, I spilled it all. Evan, the photo, the wristband. Sarah's odd behavior. Jess's eyes narrowed. "Trust your gut, Mark, but don't show your cards yet. Get proof." Her words were a lifeline, grounding me in a cold reality. This wasn't paranoia. Claire came home Wednesday with a new leather jacket, sleek and unlike her usual practical style. "Work thing," she said, hanging it up. Passing by, I caught a whiff. Unfamiliar cologne, sharp and masculine. Not mine. My stomach twisted, the scent a silent accusation. Was it Evan's? The thought was a blade cutting through my dwindling denial. That night, sleep wouldn't come. The images, Claire's smile in the photo, the wristband, the cologne, spun relentlessly. Her phone sat on the charger, unguarded. I hesitated, my principles screaming against it. But Jess's words, "Get proof," won. My hands shook as I unlocked it, crossing a line I'd sworn never to breach. I scrolled her recent apps. Nothing obvious. Then I opened Venmo. Most transactions were mundane, yoga, splitting bills with friends. Then I saw it. A $50 payment from Claire to Evan, dated last Saturday. The note read, "Drinks." My breath stopped. Last Saturday, she was supposedly in San Antonio for a retreat. The digital proof stared back, undeniable, time-stamped. No retreat, no team building, just drinks with Evan, paid for while I believed her lie. The pit in my stomach became a void. Friday's meetup wasn't just a test anymore. It was where the truth would unravel. How do you face a lie when the evidence is staring you down? The South Congress bar pulsed with humid energy, its bluesy rock riffs vibrating through the floor. The air carried stale beer, sweat, and a faint citrus tang from cocktails. I arrived early, claiming a corner table, my nerves a tight wire humming with the band. Each new face through the door sent adrenaline spiking. I gripped my shiner, the cold glass slick against my palm. The Venmo payment, $50 for drinks with Evan, burning in my mind. I'd seen Claire's unease all week. Her eyes darted when I mentioned South Congress, and yesterday she'd texted Sarah during dinner, fingers flying, face tense. Sarah hadn't replied to my casual invite to join us tonight. Her silence another nagging splinter. The wristband, the cologne, the Venmo, they weren't guesses anymore. They were proof. Tonight, I'd see the lie in her eyes. Evan walked in first, scanning the crowd, his face breaking into a grin as he spotted me. Claire trailed behind, her smile easy until her gaze locked onto mine. Her face went pale, eyes wide, a half-step falter betraying her. She clutched her silver bracelet, twisting it like a lifeline. Evan waved, oblivious. Claire followed, moving like she was wading through quicksand. "Hey man, you made it," Evan said, clapping my shoulder. Claire stood frozen, her eyes pleading. I stood, voice low, cutting through the bar's din. "Didn't expect you here, Claire." "Hey, babe," she stammered, the word brittle. Her bracelet twisting intensified, a frantic tick. Evan, still clueless, grinned. "Wait, you two know each other? Small world. Claire, this is Mark, my gym buddy." He turned to me. "Mark, this is Claire, my girlfriend." The word landed like a stone. Claire's eyes shut briefly, a flinch. I sat, letting the silence stretch, my shiner cold in my hand. Her breathing was too fast, her hands trembling. "So," I said, voice calm, eyes on Claire. "How'd you meet?" Evan said recently. Claire mumbled about a work mixer, her voice thin. Evan jumped in, eager. "Yeah, total spark. We've been hitting food trucks, rooftop bars, catching bands." His words echoed our life, hers and mine, now sold to him. Each detail twisted the knife. The rooftop, the music, her laugh. My jaw tightened, but I kept my gaze steady. "Need a sec," I said, standing. In the bathroom, the fluorescent light glared on my reflection. Pale, eyes burning, a stranger staring back. I gripped the sink, the porcelain cool, grounding me against the surge of hurt and fury. "Stay sharp," I told myself. Back at the table, Claire's relief at my absence vanished as I sat. Her eyes begged for mercy. It was time. "Funny thing, Evan," I said, my voice carrying, a smirk masking the ache. "Claire's my wife." Evan's face went slack, eyes darting between us. "What?" Claire gasped, a sob breaking free, tears streaking her makeup. "Mark, Her words dissolved into choked cries. Evan stood stunned. "Claire, I didn't know." He turned to me, hands open. "Mark, I swear, I had no idea." Claire sobbed harder, muttering I felt trapped, needed something new. Her excuses rang hollow, crumbling against the weight of her betrayal. I looked at Evan, his shock genuine. "Not your fault," I said, voice clear. I took a final sip of warm beer, stood, and walked toward the exit. The heavy door muffled Claire's sobs, Evan's apologies. Outside, the humid Austin night pressed against me, city lights blurring through unshed tears. "Mark, wait!" Evan's voice cut through. He'd followed, face wrecked. "She told me you were done. Said you were just roommates, had been for months." The air turned icy. Not done. Roommates. She'd rewritten our marriage to justify her lies. The betrayal wasn't just her body. It was our history, distorted for her story. I stared at him, the streetlights swimming, her deception a fresh wound. I turned, swallowed by the night, her lie heavier than ever. What do you do when the truth you uncovered is only half the story? The week after the bar was a haze of jagged rage and hollow grief. Claire's lie, that we were just roommates, echoed louder than her sobs, louder than Evan's stunned apologies. I couldn't face our bedroom. I took the guest room, its unfamiliar ceiling fan whirring, a constant reminder of my fractured life. Claire's soft knocks came nightly. "Mark, please, let's talk." Her voice, muffled through the door, felt empty, unable to touch the truth she'd rewritten. I stayed silent, the weight of her deception too heavy for words. One evening, I found Claire's old sketchbook on a shelf, not her food truck doodles, but one from years back, with a single sketch of Gus curled on our rug, tail tucked, eyes soft. The image hit like a fist, a snapshot of a life now gone. I shut the book, my throat tight, and shoved it back, refusing to drown in what was. I needed ground, something mine. On the patio, I fired up the grill, the charcoal's sharp scent cutting through the fog. Flipping steaks, seasoning with steady hands, I reclaimed a piece of normal. It wasn't for Claire, it was for me, a quiet defiance. Jess checked in, dragging me to her climbing gym. My muscles burned, chalk dust coating my hands as I hauled myself up the wall, each grip a release for the anger coiling inside. "You're tougher than this," Jess said, tossing me a water bottle. Her belief steadied me. I contacted a lawyer Jess recommended, a no-nonsense woman who outlined Texas divorce laws over a crisp video call. "Protect yourself," she said. I moved savings to a separate account, screenshot my phone notes, the Venmo, the wristband, building a practical shield. Virtual therapy started too. My counselor's calm voice cut through the storm. "Her choices aren't your worth." It didn't erase the pain, but it cracked the self-blame creeping in. Evan texted, his words raw. "Still reeling, Mark. I'm so sorry. If you need me to back you up, I'm here." I stared at the message, torn. He was a victim too, but his offer felt like salt in the wound. Revenge tempted me, but it was petty, a distraction. I wanted out, not more wreckage. Claire's betrayal wasn't just the affair. It was the alternate life she'd spun, painting me as a ghost in our marriage. It made me question everything. Our past, her love, my own reality. I began to see a path forward, faint but mine. Therapy, grilling, climbing, steps toward reclaiming myself. Claire's knocks continued, but I needed space before facing her. Then, late one night, a text lit up my phone from Sarah, Claire's best friend. "Mark, it's Sarah. I knew about Evan. I told Claire to stop. I'm so sorry." The words were a blade. Sarah, our friend, who'd laughed at our table, shared our hikes, had known Claire was building a life with Evan and said nothing. Her silence was a second betrayal, slicing deeper than I thought possible. The ground shifted again, trust crumbling further. I stared at the text, the Austin skyline dim through my window, knowing the months ahead would demand every ounce of strength to rebuild. How do you rebuild when even your friends were part of the lie? 8 months later, I stood in my South Austin condo, now half empty, the air sharp with disinfectant and absence. Sarah's text, admitting she knew about Evan, had been the final fracture. It wasn't just Claire. It was a shared secret, a reality others held while I lived a lie. That betrayal, layered on Claire's, left no room for reconciliation. My path was forward, alone, with Gus by my side. The divorce was clean, a quiet unraveling. Mediation split the condo's value and furniture, but Gus stayed with me, his goofy grin a daily anchor. Early steps, like securing savings and documenting the Venmo, ensured I wasn't vulnerable. It wasn't about winning, it was about freedom. Therapy was my compass. My counselor's words, "You can't fix what wasn't yours to break," became a mantra, dismantling the self-blame that had threatened to take root. Healing was messy but real. I sold startup stock, bought a mountain bike, and joined a trail running group. The Barton Creek Greenbelt's dusty paths, cedar-scented air, and runners' chatter filled the silence Claire left. Grilling became my ritual. Not just steaks, but new recipes, each meal a small act of self-care. Jess hosted a taco night, her place alive with friends who saw me, not the betrayed husband. Their laughter was a balm, proof I was more than my pain. One night, I took Claire's old sketchbook, the one with Gus's sketch, and carried it to the patio fire pit. With steady hands, I lit a match, watching the pages curl into ash, the past drifting skyward. It wasn't anger, but release, a quiet closing of that chapter. Claire moved to Dallas. I saw her once, months after the divorce, at a food truck park near her old office. She stood with colleagues, laughing, her voice carrying over the crowd. Our eyes met. For a moment, the hurt surged, her smile, Evan's photo, her lies. Then it faded. She looked smaller, less vivid than the woman I'd loved. She raised a hand, a hesitant wave. I nodded, a calm gesture, and turned away, the ache dulled by distance. It wasn't forgiveness, but acceptance. Our lives had split, and mine was mine again. On a crisp morning, I ran the Greenbelt Trail, Gus bounding ahead. The city's pulse faint below. My feet hit the dirt, steady, strong. Betrayal had cracked my world, but it didn't own me. Each step, each meal, each therapy session rebuilt what Claire's choices couldn't touch. The trail stretched wide, messy, alive, like my future, hard-won and undeniably my own. What do you build when the ground beneath you holds firm again? Thank you for listening to this story. If it resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new stories, and hit the notification bell to get notifications.